The office lights flickered ominously as Eva stuffed the last of her belongings into a cardboard box, her heart pounding with a mix of anger and disbelief. Just yesterday, she was the cornerstone of TechNext Innovations, steering the company through uncharted waters. Yet, her elite boss, blinded by arrogance, had callously let her go. Unbeknownst to him, without her, the company was heading straight into a storm without a captain. Eva Martinez stood at the window of her corner office, gazing out at the city skyline with a sense of accomplishment and determination. The early morning sun bathed the bustling streets of downtown in a golden hue, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch endlessly. The scene was a daily reminder of how far she'd come, from a small town with big dreams to the helm of innovation at TechNext Innovations. As the only engineer in the company, Eva was irreplaceable. Her sharp intellect and problem-solving skills had turned around more than one faltering project. She'd transformed ideas into viable products, and under her guidance, TechNext had risen to prominence in the competitive world of technology. Her office was a testament to her hard work, shelves lined with books on engineering and design, a desk strewn with blueprints and gadgets, evidence of the relentless pursuit of perfection that defined her career. Eva's passion for engineering was rivaled only by her commitment to her team. She remembered each of their names, their strengths, and their aspirations. To her, they were more than colleagues. They were a family bound by a shared vision. She took pride in mentoring young engineers, nurturing their talents, and watching them grow. Her thoughts were interrupted by a knock on the door. It was Max, her lead developer and confidant. His tall frame filled the doorway, a grin plastered across his face as usual. "Morning, Eva. Ready to take on the world?" he quipped, a twinkle in his eye. Eva chuckled, turning to face him. "Always, Max. What's on the agenda for today?" "Just the usual, changing the world one line of code at a time," Max replied, stepping inside and handing her a cup of coffee. "But seriously, we're all set for the big client presentation. The team's been working around the clock, and I think you'll be impressed." Eva took a sip of the steaming coffee, nodding appreciatively. "Thanks, Max. I know everyone's been putting in overtime. Let's make sure we knock this one out of the park." Max gave her a thumbs up and headed back to his desk, leaving Eva to her thoughts. She felt a swell of pride as she watched her team through the glass walls of her office. They were focused, driven, and ready to tackle any challenge that came their way. It was this camaraderie and shared purpose that made their successes so satisfying. Yet despite her achievements and the respect of her peers, Eva's relationship with Donovan Hayes, the CEO, was a constant source of friction. Donovan was the epitome of elite. With his slick suits and Ivy League credentials, he exuded an air of superiority that often grated on her nerves. His belief in the power of connections and prestige was at odds with Eva's meritocratic values. Their interactions were often tense, punctuated by Donovan's dismissive comments and Eva's frustration at his inability to recognize the talent within his own ranks. While she respected his business acumen, Eva couldn't help but feel that Donovan's priorities were skewed. She believed in fostering innovation through collaboration and hard work, not through the name on a diploma or the weight of a family legacy. The tension between them reached a boiling point during a board meeting a few days prior, when Donovan had dismissed one of her proposals with a wave of his hand, opting instead to entertain a more glamorous but less feasible idea pitched by an external consultant. Eva had argued her case passionately, but Donovan's mind was made up. It was moments like these that left Eva feeling undervalued and overlooked. Despite this, Eva remained steadfast. She was determined to prove that true innovation came from within, from the collective effort of a team united by a common goal. She refused to be sidelined by Donovan's myopic view of success. As the day progressed, Eva immersed herself in preparing for the client presentation. She reviewed every detail, ensuring that their proposal was not only technically sound, but also compelling and innovative. Her team worked tirelessly beside her, tweaking designs, refining code, and rehearsing their pitches. The atmosphere in the office was electric, charged with anticipation and nerves. Eva could feel the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, but she welcomed it. She thrived under pressure, drawing strength from the knowledge that her team was counting on her. At last, the moment arrived. The conference room was filled with a palpable sense of excitement as the clients took their seats. Eva led the presentation, her voice confident and assured as she outlined their vision. The team's hard work shone through every slide, every demonstration, and by the end, the clients were visibly impressed. After the meeting, Eva's team gathered in the break room, sharing high fives and congratulations. The presentation had been a success, and Eva couldn't help but feel a surge of pride as she watched her team celebrate. But as the laughter and chatter filled the room, Eva's gaze drifted to Donovan, who stood on the periphery, his expression unreadable. She wondered if he'd finally seen the value of their work, the potential that lay within his own company. The thought was interrupted by a tap on her shoulder. "Eva, you did it again. That was incredible," Max said, his eyes shining with admiration. "Thanks, Max, but it was a team effort. I couldn't have done it without all of you," Eva replied, her voice warm with gratitude. As the evening sun cast a golden glow over the office, Eva felt a renewed sense of purpose. She knew there were challenges ahead, battles to be fought in the boardroom, and projects to be tackled. But for now, she allowed herself to savor the moment, to revel in the knowledge that she was making a difference, one innovation at a time. Little did she know, the events of the coming days would test her resolve in ways she had never imagined, pushing her to the brink, and ultimately redefining the course of her career and the fate of TechNext Innovations. The morning sun filtered through the blinds, casting stripes of light across the bustling office of TechNext Innovations. Eva Martinez sat at her desk, surrounded by the familiar hum of computers and the soft chatter of her team. She felt a sense of accomplishment as she reviewed the plans for the new project. The contract with a major client had put them in the spotlight, and she was ready to lead the charge. As Eva immersed herself in her work, the door to Donovan Hayes' office swung open. He emerged with a confident stride, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the more casual attire of the engineering team. Donovan's presence commanded attention, and as he approached, the room fell silent. Eva looked up, meeting his gaze with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "Eva, may I have a word?" Donovan asked, his voice smooth but carrying an undertone of urgency. "Of course," Eva replied, rising from her seat. She followed him into his office, the door closing behind them with a click that echoed ominously in the quiet space. Donovan gestured for her to sit, but he remained standing, pacing behind his desk. The tension in the air was palpable, and Eva's mind raced with possibilities. Was there a problem with the contract? Had something gone wrong? "Eva," Donovan began, his tone shifting to one of feigned regret. "As you know, the new contract is a significant milestone for us. The board believes that a strategic restructuring is necessary to streamline our operations and maximize efficiency." Eva's heart skipped a beat. "What does this mean for the team?" she asked, her voice steady despite the unease creeping in. Donovan paused, choosing his words carefully. "It means we need to make some difficult decisions. Your contributions have been invaluable, but moving forward, we need a different approach." The words hung in the air, heavy with finality. Eva's mind struggled to process the implications. It felt surreal, like a bad dream she couldn't wake up from. "You're letting me go?" she asked, disbelief and anger simmering beneath her calm exterior. "It's not personal, Eva. It's just business," Donovan replied, avoiding her gaze. He continued with a rehearsed speech about company vision and new directions, but Eva barely heard him. Her thoughts were a whirlwind of emotions, betrayal, frustration, and a deep sense of injustice. As Donovan spoke, Eva's eyes drifted to the framed accolades on the wall behind him, many of which bore her name. They were a testament to her hard work and the countless hours she had dedicated to the company. Now it all seemed meaningless. With a measured breath, Eva stood. "Thank you for the opportunity, Donovan," she said, her voice steady but laced with bitterness. "I hope you find what you're looking for." She left his office with her head held high, but as she returned to her desk to pack her belongings, the weight of what had just happened began to sink in. Her team watched in stunned silence, their faces mirroring her own disbelief. The once vibrant office now felt hollow, a reflection of the void Eva's departure would leave. As she stepped into the elevator, clutching the box that held her career at TechNext, Eva felt a pang of uncertainty. Her future was now a blank canvas, one she would have to paint anew. But as the elevator doors closed, one thing was certain. The company was about to face the storm of its own making. And without Eva at the helm, it was adrift, a ship without its captain. In the days that followed Eva's abrupt departure, TechNext Innovations found itself in a state of disarray. The office, once buzzing with a sense of purpose and direction, now felt like a ship adrift in a turbulent sea. The new contract, which had initially been a beacon of opportunity, quickly transformed into a looming storm cloud, threatening the company's very existence. The projects Eva had meticulously planned were now floundering, deadlines slipping through the cracks like sand in a sieve. The sound of hurried footsteps and frustrated whispers filled the corridors. Team members who had once thrived under Eva's leadership now wandered like lost souls, their motivation sapped and their confidence shaken. The absence of Eva's calming presence and decisive problem-solving left a palpable void. It was as though the heart of the company had been ripped out, leaving the body to stumble aimlessly. In the engineering department, monitors flickered with error messages and incomplete code. Projects that had once progressed with clockwork precision now sputtered and stalled. Engineers huddled in small groups, their faces etched with concern, their conversations tinged with uncertainty. "Has anyone heard from Eva?" whispered Jake, one of the senior engineers, as he looked around the break room. His question hung in the air, a reminder of the void left by her absence. "No," replied Mia, a junior engineer, shaking her head. "I tried reaching out, but she hasn't responded. It's like she's just gone." The team exchanged glances, each of them feeling the weight of the responsibilities that now seemed insurmountable without Eva's guidance. The looming deadlines cast long shadows over their workstations, and the pressure was mounting. Meanwhile, in his spacious corner office, Donovan Hayes sat behind his imposing mahogany desk, his mind a whirlwind of frustration and regret. The once confident executive now found himself grappling with a reality he hadn't anticipated. His decision to restructure the company, intended to streamline operations and impress the board, had backfired spectacularly. Donovan's phone buzzed incessantly with calls from investors and board members, their voices tinged with impatience and concern. Each missed deadline and each project setback was a reminder of the precarious position he had put the company in. He had thought replacing Eva would be a simple matter of finding someone with the right credentials, but each candidate he interviewed only highlighted the depth of her unique contributions. "Donovan, we can't keep stalling," came the voice of one particularly stern board member during a conference call. "The client is growing increasingly impatient, and if we don't deliver soon, we're at risk of losing the contract altogether." "I understand," Donovan replied, his voice strained. "We're working on it. I've got some promising candidates lined up." "Promises aren't good enough," the board member interrupted. "We need results, Donovan. The reputation of TechNext is on the line." As the call ended, Donovan leaned back in his chair, staring out the window with a heavy sigh. The city skyline, once a symbol of his ambitions, now seemed to mock him. He had underestimated Eva's role, not just in the projects, but in the very fabric of the company. Back at her apartment, Eva sat at a small desk, cluttered with sketches and notes. The familiar hum of her laptop filled the room, a comforting sound amidst the chaos of her thoughts. She had spent days oscillating between anger and uncertainty, grappling with the abrupt end to a chapter that had defined so much of her life. Her phone buzzed with messages from her former colleagues, their words a mix of support and desperation. They missed her, needed her, but Eva was torn. The sting of her dismissal was still fresh, a bruise that ached with the memory of Donovan's cold words. "Hey Eva," read a message from Mia. "Things are falling apart here. We could really use your help. The team's lost without you." Eva's heart ached as she read the words, the familiar tug of loyalty pulling at her. She had always prided herself on being a leader who inspired and uplifted her team, and the thought of them struggling in her absence weighed heavily on her conscience. But along with the messages of support came a flood of emotions she couldn't easily dismiss. There was the anger at Donovan for undervaluing her, the frustration of being cast aside despite her contributions, and the fear of returning to an environment that had so easily discarded her. As the days dragged on, the situation at TechNext only worsened. Rumors of a mass walkout began to circulate, whispers of engineers contemplating leaving the sinking ship. The company's once sterling reputation was now marred by whispers of incompetence and mismanagement. Inside the engineering department, the tension was palpable. The team members, who had once worked seamlessly together, now found themselves in a constant state of stress. Meetings devolved into arguments, fingers pointed in blame, and morale plummeted. Jake, who had stepped up to lead in Eva's absence, found himself overwhelmed by the growing list of problems. He spent long hours at the office, trying to piece together the fragmented projects, but without Eva's guiding hand, progress was slow and fraught with challenges. "We're running out of time," Jake murmured during a late-night meeting, the fatigue evident in his voice. "We need to come up with a plan, or we're going to lose everything we've worked for." The team nodded, their faces shadowed with worry. They missed Eva's ability to cut through the chaos with clarity and resolve, her knack for turning obstacles into opportunities. Her absence was a reminder of how integral she had been to their success. Meanwhile, Donovan found himself at a crossroads. The mounting pressure from the board, the investors, and the team was a constant reminder of his misstep. He had always prided himself on his strategic acumen, yet here he was, facing the very real possibility of the company's downfall. In a moment of rare introspection, Donovan realized that the solution wasn't just about finding a replacement for Eva. It was about acknowledging the value she had brought to the company. It wasn't just her technical skills that had made her indispensable. It was her ability to inspire and lead, to bring out the best in those around her. With a heavy heart, Donovan knew what he had to do. He had to swallow his pride and reach out to Eva, to admit his mistake and ask for her return. It was a humbling realization, one that forced him to confront his own shortcomings as a leader. And so, with a sense of determination tempered by humility, Donovan picked up the phone and dialed Eva's number. As the line rang, he hoped that it wasn't too late, that Eva would find it in her heart to forgive his transgressions and return to the company that so desperately needed him. The call was the first step in a journey of redemption, one that would test both Donovan's resolve and Eva's willingness to forgive. It was a moment that would determine the future of TechNext Innovations, a turning point in a story that had yet to reach its climax. The office felt like a ghost ship, its once vibrant corridors now echoing with uncertainty and discontent. Donovan Hayes sat alone in his expansive office, the dim glow of the cityscape outside casting long shadows across the room. Papers and reports lay scattered across his desk, a testament to the chaos that had ensued since Eva's departure. Each missed deadline, each disgruntled email from the client added weight to his already burdened conscience. Donovan rubbed his temples, trying to dispel the growing headache that seemed to accompany every waking moment. The board's impatience was palpable, their demands for answers growing louder with each passing day. Investors were restless, their confidence in his leadership waning. The realization that he might have driven the company towards a precipice gnawed at him, a constant reminder of his own hubris. In the silence of his office, Donovan replayed the events that had led to this point. He had valued appearances over substance, prestige over genuine talent. And in doing so, he had underestimated the one person who had truly understood the pulse of the company. Eva Martinez, with her unyielding dedication and brilliance, had been the heart of TechNext Innovations, and without her, the company was adrift. A soft knock on the door pulled him from his reverie. It was Mark, one of the senior engineers and one of Eva's closest allies. He stepped inside, his expression a mix of frustration and concern. "Donovan, we need to talk," Mark began, his voice steady but urgent. "The team is falling apart. We're lost without Eva. She was more than just an engineer to us. She was our leader." Donovan sighed, acknowledging the truth in Mark's words. "I know, Mark. I made a mistake, a huge one. But what can I do now? She's gone." Mark hesitated, then offered a lifeline. "There's still a chance to make things right. Swallow your pride. Reach out to her. Let her know what she means to this company, to all of us." Donovan nodded slowly, the weight of his decision settling on his shoulders. He knew what he had to do. It was time to confront his own failings and make amends. The thought of facing Eva, of admitting his mistake was daunting, but it was the only way forward. The next morning, Donovan found himself standing in front of a modest apartment building on the other side of town. The winter wind bit through his coat, matching the chill of anxiety that coursed through him. He took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. Eva answered the door, surprise flickering across her face. Her posture was guarded, her eyes searching his with a mixture of curiosity and lingering hurt. "Donovan," she greeted, her voice cool but polite. "Eva, may I come in?" He asked, his tone earnest. She stepped aside, allowing him into the small but cozy living room. Donovan glanced around, noting the scattered technical journals and the laptop on the coffee table, its screen awash with code. Eva gestured for him to sit, and he obliged, gathering his thoughts. "Eva, I've come to say that I was wrong. I made a decision based on appearances, not on the reality of what this company needs, what I need. And that's you." She remained silent, her expression unreadable. Donovan continued, his voice laced with genuine regret. "The company is struggling without you. The team is struggling. I'm struggling. We were the heart and soul of TechNext, and I was too blind to see it." Eva leaned back, weighing his words. "Why now, Donovan? Why should I come back?" "Because you're irreplaceable, Eva. Not only for your skills, but for your leadership, your vision. I'm asking you to return, not just as an engineer, but as a partner. Help me lead this company into the future." Silence stretched between them, punctuated by the ticking of a nearby clock. Donovan held his breath, hoping against hope for her answer. Finally, Eva spoke, her voice decisive yet gentle. "I'll come back, Donovan, but not for you. I'll return for my team, for the projects I believe in, and because I know what we can achieve together if we do it right." Relief washed over Donovan, and for the first time in weeks, a genuine smile broke across his face. "Thank you, Eva. We won't let you down." As he left her apartment, Donovan felt a renewed sense of purpose. Eva's words resonated with him, a reminder that true leadership was not about authority, but about recognizing and nurturing the talent that truly drove success. It was a lesson he intended to carry forward, for the sake of the company and for himself. Eva sat at her kitchen table, the morning sunlight streaming through the window, casting a warm glow on the letter from TechNext that lay unopened before her. She had already read the email from Donovan, the one filled with apologies and pleas for her return, but seeing his words in print on company stationery felt different, more official, more desperate. She sighed, tracing her fingers over the embossed logo, reminiscing about the days she spent pouring her heart into her work. The projects she led were not just tasks, they were her legacy, her proof that she belonged in a world often dominated by those who didn't look like her or share her background. Her mind was a tumult of emotions, resentment for the way she was treated, but also a lingering affection for the team she had built and nurtured. The decision wasn't easy. Part of her wanted to slam the door shut on TechNext and everything it represented. Yet another part of her, the part that thrived on challenges and the camaraderie of her team, yearned to return and set things right. She felt Donovan's gaze from a distance, his words still echoing in her mind, raw and sincere. "We need you, Eva. I need you." A knock on the door startled her from her reverie. It was Sarah, her closest confidant from TechNext, whose loyalty had never wavered even after Eva's abrupt departure. Her presence was a welcome balm to Eva's troubled thoughts. "Hey," Sarah greeted, her voice tinged with anticipation. "I thought you might want some company." Eva gestured for her to sit, grateful for the distraction. "Thanks, Sarah. It's been a whirlwind." Sarah leaned forward, her expression earnest. "I know Donovan messed up, and I know how hard this decision must be for you. But the team is struggling without you. They need your leadership, Eva. We all do." Eva nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of responsibility. She had always been the glue that held the team together, and their faith in her was a powerful motivator. "I've been thinking about it," Eva admitted, her voice soft but resolute. "I can't just abandon the projects we've worked so hard on. It's not just about Donovan or the company. It's about us, the team, the vision, the impact we can make." Sarah smiled, relief washing over her face. "If anyone can turn this around, it's you. We believe in you, Eva." With a renewed sense of purpose, Eva made her decision. She would return, but on her terms. She would demand the respect and authority she deserved, not just as an engineer, but as a leader who had proven her worth time and again. The next day, Eva walked into TechNext Innovations, her footsteps echoing in the hushed corridors. Heads turned as she passed, whispers trailing in her wake. Her presence commanded attention, a testament to the influence she wielded. The office buzzed with a mix of surprise and excitement as she made her way to the conference room where Donovan awaited. The door clicked shut behind her, sealing them in a space charged with unspoken tension. Donovan rose from his seat, his expression a blend of relief and apprehension. "Eva," he began, his voice sincere. "I can't express how grateful I am that you're willing to come back. I know I've got a lot to make up for." Eva met his gaze, her own unwavering. "I'm here for the team and the work we've started, but things need to change now. I need to know that my contributions are valued and that I have a voice in the decisions that affect us all." He nodded, his demeanor earnest. "Absolutely. I've realized the hard way that leadership isn't just about making decisions from the top. It's about collaboration and recognizing the strengths of the people around you. I promise to do better." Her lips curled into a faint smile, acknowledging his effort. "Then let's get to work." With Eva back at the helm, the atmosphere within TechNext transformed almost overnight. Her return sparked a renewed sense of hope and determination among the team. They rallied around her, eager to tackle the challenges that lay ahead. Eva wasted no time in assessing the situation, her mind a whirlwind of strategies and solutions. She called a meeting, bringing everyone together to address the stalled projects and missed deadlines. The room was filled with eager faces, each person ready to contribute and support their leader. "All right, everyone," Eva began, her voice clear and confident. "We've got our work cut out for us, but I know we can do this. We have the talent, the passion, and the drive. Let's focus on what we do best, innovating and delivering results." The team responded with enthusiasm, their energy infectious. Eva outlined a plan, delegating tasks and setting achievable goals. Her leadership style was collaborative, empowering each member to take ownership of their work, fostering a sense of unity and purpose. As days turned into weeks, the projects that had once seemed insurmountable began to take shape. Eva's innovative strategies breathed new life into the company's operations, and her ability to inspire brought out the best in everyone. TechNext was back on track, and the client's satisfaction soared. Donovan, true to his word, worked alongside Eva, learning from her example. He listened more, valued input from all levels of the organization, and gradually earned back the trust of his employees. Under Eva's guidance, he began to see leadership not as a solitary endeavor, but as a shared journey. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the city, Eva found herself alone in the office, reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. The challenges had been daunting, but the triumphs were all the sweeter for it. She was interrupted by a soft knock at the door. It was Donovan, a tentative smile on his face. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, his tone respectful. Eva gestured for him to enter, appreciating the change in his demeanor. "Of course, Donovan." He settled into a chair, looking around the room that had become a symbol of their collective success. "I've learned a lot from you, Eva, about leadership, about people. Thank you for giving me another chance." She nodded, her expression thoughtful. "It's been a learning experience for both of us. I'm glad we were able to turn things around." Donovan hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "I was wondering if you'd consider officially taking on a leadership role, something beyond engineering. Your vision and ability to inspire are what we need to keep moving forward." Eva considered his offer, the weight of his words settling over her. She had always been driven by a desire to create and innovate, to lead by example. The prospect of shaping the company's future was both daunting and exhilarating. She met his gaze, her decision clear. "I'd be honored, Donovan. Let's make this company everything we've envisioned it to be." As they shook hands, a sense of completion washed over her. The journey had been arduous, but it was one she wouldn't trade for anything. She had found her place, not just as an engineer, but as a leader who had proven that true leadership was about recognizing and nurturing the talent around you. Eva's return had marked a turning point, not just for TechNext Innovations, but for herself. She had come full circle, more confident and empowered than ever. ready to embrace the future with open arms. Eva stood by the large window of her office, gazing out at the bustling city below. The sun bathed the skyline in a warm golden hue, a perfect metaphor for the new dawn that had broken over TechNext Innovations. It had been 6 months since her return, and the transformation within the company was nothing short of miraculous. The projects that had once faltered were now thriving, and the team, invigorated by Eva's leadership, worked with renewed passion and purpose. Donovan Hayes had undergone a transformation of his own. Gone was the aloof and prestige-driven leader. In his place was someone who genuinely cared about the people who made TechNext successful. He had made it a point to connect with every team member, listening to their concerns and ideas, fostering a culture of openness and collaboration. Donovan's humility and willingness to change had not gone unnoticed, earning him a newfound respect among the employees. One afternoon, as Eva was reviewing the latest project milestones, there was a knock on her door. It was Donovan. He entered with a smile, carrying a small potted plant as a token of appreciation. "Eva, I wanted to give you this," he said, placing the plant on her desk. "I read somewhere that plants symbolize growth and resilience. It seemed fitting, considering what you've done for TechNext." Eva smiled warmly, touched by the gesture. "Thank you, Donovan. It's beautiful, and thank you for everything you've done these past months. The change has been incredible." Donovan nodded, taking a seat across from her. "I have to admit, I was blind to what truly mattered. I was so focused on the image of success that I forgot what actually makes a company successful. It's people. You taught me that, Eva, and I'm grateful." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of laughter from the hallway. It was the team celebrating another successful project launch. Eva's heart swelled with pride as she listened to their joy and camaraderie. She had always believed in the power of teamwork, and now it was the driving force behind TechNext's success. "I was thinking," Donovan continued, "about the future of TechNext. I'd like to officially make you my partner in leadership. You've already been doing the job, but it's time the title reflects your contributions." Eva was taken aback, her eyes widening in surprise. "Donovan, He held up a hand, cutting her off gently. "You've earned it, Eva. More than anyone. You've led us through our darkest times and brought us into the light. I can't think of anyone better suited for the role." Eva considered his words, her mind racing with possibilities. She thought of her journey, from the young engineer eager to prove herself to the confident leader she had become. Accepting Donovan's offer felt like the culmination of everything she had worked for, a validation of her talents and her belief in the power of leadership. "Thank you, Donovan. I'd be honored to accept," she finally replied, her voice steady with determination. As the weeks turned into months, Eva and Donovan worked tirelessly to build a company culture rooted in mutual respect and innovation. They implemented new programs to nurture young talent, offering mentorship opportunities and encouraging creative thinking. The impact was immediate and profound, with TechNext becoming a beacon of progressive leadership in the industry. One evening, as the office began to empty, Eva took a moment to reflect on the journey. She walked through the now familiar halls, pausing to admire the workspaces filled with vibrant energy and creativity. The changes they had implemented were more than just policies. They had fostered a sense of belonging and purpose among the employees. Reaching the main lobby, Eva found herself drawn to the wall of achievements, a collection of plaques and awards recognizing TechNext's accomplishments. Each accolade represented a milestone in their journey, a testament to the resilience and dedication of the team. But more importantly, it symbolized the power of unity and the strength that comes from valuing every individual's contribution. Just as she was about to leave, Eva spotted a familiar face approaching. It was Sarah, a young engineer who had recently joined the team. Her eyes were bright with excitement, and she carried a folder filled with notes and sketches. "Eva, I'm glad I caught you," Sarah said, slightly out of breath. "I wanted to show you some ideas I've been working on for the new project. I think it could really push the boundaries of what we're doing." Eva smiled, feeling a surge of pride. She saw in Sarah a reflection of her younger self, eager, passionate, and brimming with potential. "Of course, Sarah, I'd love to hear your ideas. Let's grab a coffee and talk it over." As they walked toward the kitchen, Eva felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had come full circle, from a lone engineer fighting to prove her worth to a leader empowering others to reach their potential. Her journey had not been easy, but it had been worth every challenge and setback. In the quiet moments, when the office was still and the city lights twinkled in the distance, Eva understood that true leadership was not about wielding power, but about inspiring others to believe in themselves. It was about creating a space where everyone felt valued and heard, where innovation thrived, and where the future was a shared vision. TechNext Innovations continued to flourish, a testament to the power of resilience, humility, and the unwavering belief in the people who make dreams a reality. Together, they were not just a company, they were a family, united by a common purpose and driven by a shared passion for excellence. Under Eva's leadership, the future was brighter than ever, a future she was proud to build with every member of her team.